Hello everybody, welcome to this week's creative exploration project. I'm going to be working with alcohol ink this week and we're going to create a beachy landscape. Now that we're kind of going into spring, I love making like oceanscapes and pieces, so I thought that's what I would do this week. My apologies for uploading late. I have been feeling kind of sick. I'll try to edit out if I cough. But yeah, I was like, well, I'm isolating, so I might as well film a workshop. So the first thing I'm going to start with, we're going to start with the horizon and we're going to work out from there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a line of alcohol. This is 99% isopropyl alcohol. If you haven't worked with alcohol ink before, please go back to my intro to alcohol ink and review the basics about alcohol ink, of like what types of alcohol to use, what brands of ink I like to use. And it's got all this starter info. From there, then we can build on that in these workshops. So I'm gonna start with a line of just straight alcohol. And I'm going to add this pink into the top and the bottom of it. And from there, this is cloudy blue, which I will add along here. And pool. Go. And we're just going to use a brush dipped in alcohol and start from the center point and work outwards. And one thing to remember with shell pink particularly is it does tend to stain, so you want to work on it quick. Okay. And we're just gonna let that dry before we work any further. The beauty of alcohol ink is it dries super quickly and you'll have plenty of time to establish. This is just a line of sandal. Kind of wanted to add in just a little bit along here. Kind of give that sunset vibe. All right, I'm gonna let that dry and come back to it in just a minute here. Okay, so that's pretty much dried. It's still got another, maybe a couple seconds or so, but this should be good. So I kind of want the top here to be a little bit more blue. So we're just gonna add pool up along the top. And I'm gonna add it along here as well. I'm just gonna define a little bit. I'm gonna blend out the sky really nicely, but down here I want it to be a little bit more detailed. So I'm gonna take, let's see. I'm gonna take a darker blue into here. This is Monsoon. Just add it to the foreground. And use a smaller brush, little synthetic bristle brush. And just use it to kind of detail it down here just a little bit. In landscapes, it's important to remember that the foreground is usually a lot more detailed than the background. And you use alcohol to lighten up any areas. So I'm just taking pure 99% alcohol to create these sort of divots in the ink. Alcohol ink is super neat because it allows the ink to separate in a way. It's really quite dynamic. and it changes so much from the original piece that you lay down to what it dries as. So it's important to be open-minded working with alcohol ink and not have any like set expectations of what you want it to look like, especially when you haven't really worked with alcohol ink very much before. It's a very unpredictable medium. Cool. So the top looks like it's starting to dry a little bit. No, you know what? I'm gonna leave it for another couple minutes, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna use the Kleenex to scrub into the background. Okay, so the background has mostly dried, so now I'm gonna take this piece of Kleenex and I'm gonna work from the light area into the darker area. And the harder you scrub, the more blend you're gonna get. Shaking the table a bit there. Very pretty. Now I'm kind of sad that I'm missing out on some pink here, so I'm just going to throw a little bit more in there. And I'm going to scrub it out. And you don't have to scrub it perfectly so that it's all completely blended, you know, it's kind of neat to have some different areas and color. Kind of some implied clouds and things like that. This almost looks like a bit of a landmass. I might work into that a bit more. But for now, I'm going to focus on the water. So this monsoon is looking really cool down here. I'm actually just going to add a little bit more through here. So this is just a brush wet with isopropyl alcohol. And again, just gonna work on the horizon a bit here while that monsoon below dries a little bit. And obviously, my goal here is not realism by any means. This is purely a dreamy, fun, abstract concept. If you just kind of load some alcohol onto your brush and tap it, you can get little droplets. Or you can simply just dabble it to create those kind of bubbly textures through the water. Maybe use a smaller brush, get some different sizes in there. Super cool. Love it. Love it. I really like this sort of soft landmass in the background here. Just gonna soften it up even more so. Very pretty. Now one thing that I want to do is I want to add some pink into the water as like a bit of a reflection. So I'm just going to put some of my shell pink in here, unload my brush up, with a little bit of alcohol in it. And we're just going to start over here. And you don't want to scrub it too much because it will interact. No matter how dry the alcohol ink is, it will always interact with whatever color is on there already, which can get you some pretty muddy stuff if you're not careful where you're adding it, or what colors are below it. The beauty is, though, that if you hate whatever you've done, you can take a piece of paper towel with alcohol and wipe it all away. Now I'm going to add some more pink droplets throughout the piece too, just as a little bit of like a effect here. I usually do this at the end, but I decided to do it anyways, is add a little sun or a moon into the background. Sometimes it just happens. And I am all right with that. Just gonna keep this moving along the horizon here. I'm gonna add just a little bit of the sandal to my brush. Oh, that's gross. There we go. And dabble it along the skyline. And remember that things that are far away are less in focus than the things that are up close in a landscape. Well, in all things, really, in all visual art. So you want to keep it pretty minimalist and not go into too much crazy detail, and keep the foreground where the busyness is. And as far as water goes, it tends to get lighter the further away it is. So try and keep this foreground fairly dark as well. I mean, to an extent, right? Don't be afraid to add more ink. And you might notice too how far it expands. So when you add the alcohol to it, you might want to go a little on the lesser side, depending on what your goal is, if you want it to be really busy or not. Less tends to be more when it comes to alcohol ink though. Just gonna even that out a little bit. Yeah, this is just looking a little muddy in here, so I'm just gonna go in with a little bit more pool. Little waves. Create a couple little tiny waves in the background. Very cute. And there we have it. It's a fairly basic landscape that you can try on your own. And we will do some more complicated ones as time goes on. I've got some mountainscape stuff that I have planned to do for you and all sorts of other things. So we're going to keep expanding on these skills as time goes on and work on doing different difficulty levels, and you can find sort of where you sit and where you like to work and work within and beyond that, hopefully. The idea of this is to expand your knowledge and hopefully allow you to work dynamically and with all sorts of different skills. So I hope that you enjoyed this. We're just gonna peel back the tape once this is dry. This is a clear Scotch tape. It is the best thing for alcohol ink. Oops, it's gone underneath the tape a bit here. And we just peel it back, revealing that beautiful solid outline. Sometimes you'll get a little bit of a divot. We can just use some alcohol to clean that up. Very pretty. A nice basic oceanscape landscape that you can do on your own. And then when we go and we complicate things, you can reference this for any basic sort of info that you need. There we go. Beautiful.